So we are just going to continue on where we stopped last week on on what's it called, on user research. So we've done the recap just now. So just dive into what you have for today. So we are going to move on to the research plan. We are going to move on to the research plan. So making your research, before you start making your research, you have to have a plan. That is how you want to make your research that you want to make, so that when you are working, it will be easier for you to work and you know what you're actually looking for in the research. So based on what you have there now, it says the research plan is a document that clarifies how to approach the research, touching upon research goals, selected methodologies, types of participants and tools used, timelines and location. So all these have to be present in your research plans. So let's now look at what do you need to have in your research plan. So these are the important element. These are the important elements that you need to have in your research plan. The first one is a brief. So that's going to be like talks about the product that you are trying to design. So this is going to be uh uh a note, like a short note about what you are trying to design, and the that will include the client, that is who are you working for, then your role, that what role are you going to play in that research plan that you want to do. Maybe you are doing it in group, that the what you are working on, you have a group of designers there, so your own roles that you are performing there, you have to include it in your plan so that you won't be doing other person's work. And also the research background. So the research background, that's about the product that you are designing. That's like the secondary research of the product that you are design that you want to design. Then also we have the research object. Sorry, somebody's. Then you have the research. Somebody. Okay. So research background. So that's like your secondary research about the product that you are designing, like what you your research about the product you are designing. So it's not as if that the product you want to design, you don't even know anything about it. So what you learned about the product that you are designing is what you are going to put under the research background. So also, we have the research objective. So this is objective, not object. I'm sorry. This is objective. So that is what you want to achieve in the research. You have to have that one written down before you move on to um your interview, or however you want to make your research. Then the methodology is the method you want to use. You have to have it written down. So how many people do you want to recruit for your research? How many minutes do you want to spend with them? Where do you want how do you want to do it? Do you want it to be online? Do you want it to be physical? How do you want it to be a video call? Do you want to be like a phone call? However you want to do it, you have to have that one down too. And also the screener questions. So you have to have this one written down too. The question that you have to want to ask before you proceed to to the interview stage. It's not everybody that you meet that's going to be your participant for interview. So the screener question is going to help you to know who exactly do you want to recruit for your interview. And also the interview script, that these are the questions that you have to list down, the question that you want to ask. You have to list down the question that you want to ask in these parts. Important question that you want to ask the your You want to ask the participant that you recruited for the that you want to recruit for the interview. You have to have the question written down too. Then at the end, the appreciation that you have to appreciate the person that you recruit for the interview. So these are the important elements that you have to have in your research plan. So let's move on. So now, since you know what we need to do our interview, we understand that how can we get information from the users that want to interview. We've learned that we know what we've learned quantitative all this quantitative research, qualitative research, primary research, secondary research, you know all of that. So now the next thing we want to do is you've chosen to do an interview, right? So how do you do and how do you conduct an a user research interview? Is the next thing that I want to look at this now. You know. So the first thing is to get your participant. The first thing is to get your participant. And how can you get your participant? First way, might not be the first way, but the first one I listed here is online. You can get your participant online. You can have a screener's question first, so that you from that place you know, okay, this is the kind of person I want to recruit for my interview. Then you send them email later, or anyhow you want to make it. Then you tell them that you are recruiting them for the interview, and if they accept your invite, then you have a participant for your interview. Another way to get interview participant is always testing. Always testing. So you this method involves you standing by the roadside. This I mean that's the best version of that. You stand by a roadside, and people that are walking by, you just talk to them about what you are trying to do. And if they agree to be a participant for your interview, that means you have a participant for your interview. You're successful in getting a participant for your interview. And also friends and family, then you can get your participant for your interview. Your brothers, maybe your dad, your uncle, your friends in school, your friends at home, they can be your participant for the interview. And then the last one is third party recruiting agency, though these will cost you money. So if you don't have money to spend, so you can consider the first three. But if you are working on a very big project that's you are making a lot of money from it, and you have enough capital to fund the interview, you can choose to go for the third one. So you are going to pay the agency so that they can help you do the so that's the work that they do. So they can help you to do the research that you are trying to do. Now we want to conduct our user research interview now. So the first thing to do is to script your interview questions. All questions that you want to ask, you have to write them down first. It's not as if when you get to the interview venue, when you want to do your interview, is now when you start to think about what you want to ask the user that you want to interview. You have to have the question written down already. So and the next thing to do when you have a question written down down is to research the user that you want to interview. Why this is important is that so that when the user comes to the venue, you won't be addressing them in the wrong manner, and also you're able to know, is this question I want to ask, is it the right way to put it? Is it the right thing to ask? Why shouldn't I ask this instead? Let's say you the question that you scripted already was meant for somebody above 18 years old. Now, when you now recruit your participant is not less than 18 years old. How do you want to go about the research that way? And the question is not suitable for users that are below 18 years old. So you have to research your users too. There are some basic things that you need to know about the user that you want to interview. Sometimes, sometimes you might, if somebody that you meet online, you might just go through online just like that. Maybe you go to their LinkedIn page, Twitter page, just know the kind of person they are. So that when you want to even start the conversation with them, you're able to relate to them better. So when I relate, and the first thing in relating with people is relate to them with something that you know that okay, they have interest in these things. So when you move around their socials and you see what their interest, you're able to build connection with them when you are trying to converse with them when you want to start your interview. Because if you are doing interviews, you are just talking. So it's from the talk that you are doing that you take your own you have your own your notes that you want to take from the interview. So the next thing is to practice. So after you've written down your question, you research your user, then you practice the question that you've written down, so that when you get there, you won't be like, oh, and this is not what I was supposed to say. This is what I should have said. But if you practice, you will have learned your mistake and you correct yourself before you get to the interview. The next thing when you get to the interview is the first thing is to build rapport with the participants. It's not that when you just get to the interview and just start the interview straight up. The user that that you are doing interview for might just give you some kind of straightforward answers. So but when you build rapport first, you greet him, have you make him feel like not a stranger anymore. Like it's not like a stranger, you feel like you've known each other before that time. So everything that's going to be seen with you is going to be free with you. So the first thing is to build rapport with your participants when then you greet them well, talk about, you don't ask too much questions too, but you build rapport to the level that is the person not going to feel like he's a stranger. If the person knows somebody that you know, and if somebody that you already know, you have to still make them feel like okay, this you are free to say anything here, anything you feel about anything I want to ask you. You have to make them free to answer you. So the next thing is to thank them for coming. You appreciate them for coming. In, also, you can even have something like incentive for them when they come. Maybe a drink or snacks when they come to for the interview. You can do that. It's part of what you should do. What you can do when you are doing your research, your user research. Also, you gather the basic knowledge. So as you are talking, you are building rapport with them, you are exchanging greetings. There are some things that you might be saying. Start taking notes from that place. Start taking note from that place. All those basic things that you are seeing. Maybe you are talking about their age, their family size, where they live, the kind of work they do, their schedule and all of that. So you start taking note of everything they are saying like that. So another thing you should do when you're conducting your user research is follow the interview etiquette. You have to follow the interview etiquette. So part of it is that you have to respect your participant. You have to respect him. And if you are going to record your interview, if you are doing a video call or even a voice call, or even you are doing a live interview with the person, you have to take their permission before you record anything from them. And also, if you are working on a product that you don't want it to be disclosed before you finish working on it, you can go there with a, a paperwork that the participant has to sign. That is in NDA paper, non-disclosure agreement, that the participant is going to agree with you that is not going to disclose the interview that you want to have with him or her at that point with anybody. So that is also part of the interview etiquette. So moving on. So as you're asking your questions in the interview, you have to make them open ended questions. So you don't ask question that gives more of yes or no. You ask question that will make them talk because that's what you need. You want them to talk. You want them to talk. You ask questions that will make them to talk. When they even answer you some question that you don't have, you feel like you are not getting enough of of answers from them. You can ask them, please, can you talk more about that? Can you, you can just find some ways to like make them talk more on question that you ask them. Also, I like compelling quotes. Maybe while they are talking, they are referring to some things more like a quote that's like a quote, or even though they just say it's not a quote, but you feel like something worthy of taking note of it, you highlight it. Best to write it down because you are going to need it. So the next thing is take note of observation of the about the participants. You have to take note of the participants when you ask them questions. Maybe you ask them a question and then the face of the participants just change. You have to note that. You have to observe that. You have to notice that. Okay, when I ask this question, this person face changed. Maybe is the person when you are doing the interview, I ask a question and the person just change his face, like being sad or worrisome. You have to notice that. You have to note that and note it down. Or when you're talking, the person face change and feel like the person is happy with the response that the person is giving to you. You have to note that too. And then the last one is to keep notes and record. So we talked about that before. So what you should take note of when you are doing your interview? Everything has to be followed. Everything has to be followed so that the research you are doing, your interview you are doing is going to be a successful one and it's going to be something that is going to be useful for you in your design. Okay. So qualities of good interview questions. Like I've said this before. They just like an highlight that is very, very important. They ask very good questions in your interview. Is to ask an open-ended questions. You don't ask question that requires them to say yes or no. You ask question that will make them to talk more. Like you ask them question like, do you love to use app to order food? And then the person goes, yes, no, no. That's not the question that you ask. You ask you like, when you want to buy food, how do you do it? Then you ask them, you see them explaining, okay, when I want to buy my food, I I ordered through this app, I ordered through that app. Okay, I go to the canteen to go and buy food. This is how you get more information from people. If you're just asking them, do you use this? Do you use app for ordering food? Then it just goes no. You just go yes, and then it stops there. But when you ask them, how do you get your food? So they start explaining. Then you can that might even lead to your own question too. Why don't you like using app? Why so something like that? Something like that. And then you have to ask a follow-up question. That is ask them to talk more about what you're asking them. Know that you ask a question and then you just stop there. So also when you're doing your interview, you have to empathize with the participant that you are doing the interview for. So like you said before in the first class, we talked about the empathy. That is, you have to put the user in your own shoe. Like you be in the shoe of the user. Okay, that's right. You have to put yourself in the shoe of the user. So, and how do you empathize with the user? How do you feel their pain? That okay, what exactly is going on? So is to ask a lot of questions. When you ask a lot of questions, you're able to pour out that what they feel, and you're able to see a lot of things about the users. Then when you ask a lot of questions, and also be more observant. So anytime they have a kind of maybe even a facial expression, you have to take note of that. You have to be very, very observant. Maybe they were talking before, the voice was cool, and then you just ask a question, and then the voice change somehow. If you are not observant, you won't be able to take note of it. You won't be able to take note of this. But we are very, very observant. You will see that, and it's very, very key that you note that. Also, you have to be very, very active while you are listening to the user. You have to be very active. Everything user says at that point is very, very important. So your activeness while listening to them is very, very important too. And then also request input. Request input. You ask them, it's more like everything they've seen before. You ask them questions that need explanation, not just yes or no question. Is what we will be asking. And then the last one, you have to be open-minded. So before you start the research, have it in your mind that this thing that I'm doing is not as if I want a confirmation from the thought I have. You get? So if you have if you have something in your mind that okay, every time you want to buy a food, you have to use an app. Maybe that's what you have in your own mind before. When you get to the interview stage, it means that the best thing to use or the best thing to use to get the food is no more the app. It might be something that you don't even have idea about that thing. So everything that you're going to be asking them is not going to be something that you want you to confirm yes for what you want to do. So you don't have to be biased when you are doing your research. Moving on. So what's next after your interview? Now you've done all this interview and you've done all this research. You have a lot of things now. So what do you do with all these things? Do all this research? You went online to read about the product you want to do. You look for different other people that are doing the same thing that I want to do, and then you just do you want to keep them somewhere? What do you want to do with all these things? So that will lead us to what? Building personnel. That is, we are in the defined phase now. So information that you've gathered, all those information that you gathered, you want to make sense of them now. You want to make sense of those information that you've gathered now. So you are going to build a persona with all these things you've gathered. That is, what you're actually doing here is that you've done interview for different kind of users. Now you want to group your users in two categories. Maybe at the end of your research, most of your users most of your users uh falls into like maybe three categories. That means you are having how many personal you have like two or three like that. So looking at what we have here as user personas, said personas are created by conducting user research and identifying the common pain points, which are UX issues that frustrate and block users from getting what they need from a product. So what you need to create your persona are what you quote from your research. And then how do you build a persona? You did interview for, let's say, 10 users now. Are you going to build persona for 10 users? No. So from when you are talking with them, when you're doing the interview with them, the talks that you're having, they make mention of some things that contain that pain point, what they need, what categories of users do they fall into. So that's what will make you decide how many user persona am I going to build. Is two user persona enough, or I have to make it three? So um you group your users based on their pain points. So let's look at what do you need to have on our user persona. What is even user persona itself? What does it even look like? What are we talking about? It's just like a explanation. So important thing that you have to have your persona is, first thing is your demographic information. Demographic information, and then you have to have like a code. So this is why when you are doing your research, it's good that you are very attentive. There will be something that they have, like, the code might be different, maybe when they were talking, or the code might be something that you formulate yourself from what the group of a category of users said when you are doing the interview for them. Also, the pain point of the users. So that is very, very important because that's what even makes you to categorize them into different kind of users. Then the brief story about them, just brief story about them, and then the image. The image could just be a fictional image. None of this should be the right image of the person that you did the interview for. So let's look at user person. Oh, is this big enough? So let me enlarge this thing a little bit. Okay. Okay. So this is an example of user persona now. So Here we have the demographic information here, and then we have the image, just as you said. Then the short story that we talk about the bio of the person, and then the core need of the person, of the persona, and then the frustration, that is the pain point. Then you can have some others too there. So this is a user persona created for a user, a kind of user. So we have the name of the we have a name here. The name to might be fictional. Since you just like you use that one to group it, use that one to group it. So you have the name, you have the fictional image. So the age, so those people that falls within that age category, like age bracket. So that's what you use to consider that one, and the rest in the demographic information that you need to put them. Then the code, you have the codes here. So the code that this user made now is that I'm used to which online service, and I usually do my online shopping from Instagram. So there are some users when you are doing the interview with them, it falls under this kind of category. Others were not necessarily talk about Instagram, but they talk about something like Instagram. So you group two kind of users, group them together. So you have the personality. You can use that one to group your personal. So then you have the bio. Most likely all these people that you are going to put under this person now, they have to have the same, almost not the same, almost same story, and then their need has to be the same too, and then also the frustrations too. That is the pain point has to be. So that's that on user persona. Now you're moving on to the empathy map. You're moving on to the empathy map. So empathy map are easily understood chart that explains what UX designers have learned about a particular type of users. Empathy map can help break down each interview into digestible piece of information. So at this point, like I said, that in defined state, you are defined phase, you are making sense of everything you've gathered from your research and interview. That's what you are doing. So at this point now, you want to break all those things down, because what you've gathered during the interview and everything is a lot of information. You have a lot of information already, so you have to break them into chunks so that it will make sense, and it will be something that you can use for this, and it's something that you can use for your design. So and it's something that you can use for your design. So we have different type of empathy map. We have the aggregated, and we have the single user map. So let's start from the single user. So in this single user, everything that you are going to have in your empathy map just going to be for just one user, like just a single user that you did your interview for, is what you are going to make your empathy map to based on. So every element you're having on on the empathy map is going to be about a single user. And for the aggregate or the multiple empathy map, so you have different users, but they have a common pinpoint. You have a common pinpoint, just like the user persona. So you are going to group them in that empathy map. So when we go through, when you see what user the empathy map looks like, you're going to have a clearer vision of what you're talking about here. So moving on, what you need to have in your empathy map, the name. If you are doing a single user empathy map, the name of the user that are doing the empathy map for, what the user says, what the user think, does, and feels. So all these things you are going to get them for your from your interview. Imagine when you're doing your interview, you are not observant. So now you ask a user something like, would you like to like you ask them a question like, how do you pay for your service when you use um online platform to purchase? So the person just changes his face like, oh, maybe the person doesn't like using it's like paying before delivery. So you now make a kind of a facial expression that you didn't take note of it. How do you want to record feels when you're the feels of the user when you are doing your empathy map? So it's very, very important when you are doing your interview to be observant so that you can know how the user feels, and then you're able to empathize with them when you are going through your own design too. So also what the user says, this is what the user says directly when you are doing the interview for them. You don't have to rephrase, you don't have to summarize, just exactly what they say. So you have to take note of that too. So when you are doing the empathy map, you have to include it there that okay, this is what the user says. And then what they think. So what they think, they might be the one to say that by themselves that I think, or from what they were saying when you are doing the interview. So you assume that it's not like it's the assumption that you're making there is very close to something that is actually real. So you can think for them since you're already empathizing with them. So you can like think for them and you write it down in your empathy. You put that down in your empathy map. You note that down in your empathy map because everything you are putting in your empathy map is going to affect your design your design process. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about the what it does. The does, that is what they do when you are doing the interview for them. Screen. So that is what they do when you are doing the interview for them. So this is example of a empathy map. This is an example of empathy map. So you can have it in your own way. You might not make it something like this. So just this is one way to make your empathy map. So here now, this person are like a to show which one, which text, which categories is the text that he puts here belongs. So we have the think here, we have the think, we have the feel, we have the say, we have the do, and then we represent each of them with different colors. So and discarding us here already. So when he was doing the interview for the user, so the user think this, one user think this, another user think this, another user think this, another user think this, and might even be that it's one user that thinks all of this. So how do you do that when you have when you are doing aggregated um empathy map? So you can just write the name, you can make this text, you can make the background a little bit longer, then you put the name under it. Then you put the name of the user that says that, you put it under it. So either ways you can just leave it like that since users is still users and everything they are going to do in your design is going to be affected by the empathy map here. So you are still going back to the empathy map. That's what you just need, the information from the user. Like you just want to put the user first in your design that you are doing. So it don't really matter who actually said it or whatever or who the person is. So maybe you don't need that. So that's that on empathy map. Now you empathize with the user, you've seen their pinpoint. So the next thing is to have a user story. So who is this user that we're actually designing for? Who is the user? So you have to have that too. And then you have a very simple framework here. So let's look at what the said user story is. He said user story is a fictional one statement story, one sentence story told from your personal point of view to inspire and inform design decision. Take note of everything here. He said personal point of view, and also is going to inform your design decision. Moving on, this is a great opportunity to use your imagination as you create the story that captures the need of your user. It says you are going to use your own imagination to create it. So if you did not do the all this research and interview and everything, how do you want to come up with the user story? How do you want to know who you are designing for? So you know you are designing for after all these story, all these interviews that you've done in the empathy phase of the design thinking process. So this is a very simple framework that we have here. I think so. What you need, the basic thing that you need there is, who are you designing for? Who is the person there? Who is the user that you are designing for? And then we have what do they want? Um, what do they want to do? What do they want to do in the product that you want to design for them? That is the solution that you want to create for them, and then the benefit that you are going to gain from the product that you are designing. So now the help us put it that as a type of user, I want to, then the action that they want to do, so that the benefit. So let's okay, an example that I have here, it says I want to create a user story for a mother. Are you with me? I want to create a user story for a mother now, and then the mother has two children. The mother has two children. The mother is working. That is, she's working from 8 to 5. The mother work from 8 to 5. Sorry. Okay, let's go on. The mother work from 8 to 5, and then the mother has two children. So what's the number I'm trying to bring? Mm. So what the mother actually wants is something to make her house safe. She wants something to make her house safe, and she has two children, and she work from 8 to 5. Now I want to have a user story for this woman now, for this mother. How do I go about that? So I'm going to say that as a mother of two, as a mother. So I put the type of business I'm designing for now. What am I designing for? A mother of two. So as a mother of two, so what do I want? I said she wants her home to be safe, right? So she now you just put that I want, maybe, okay, okay. Maybe when you are doing your research, you are going to get what the action of the users from that place. So I want to limit the amount of access to my home. That is, I don't want anybody to just come to my home and everybody just enter like that, because I'm busy and I have two children at home. I have two children. So then what do you want when you don't want people to come to your house? Like, you want to limit the number of people that come to your house. What do you want from that? So that I can keep my house, so that I can keep my family safe. So the user story that we have here is that as a mother of two, I want to limit the amount of access to my house so that I can keep my family safe. Um, so let's move on. So what are the benefit of what's this? What's this? Ah. So the another thing that you have to get from your interview and research is Ideate journey map. It's very important. It's very important. So what do you want to get from user journey map? So it helps you to create an obstacle-free path for your user. So this user journey map, what you are doing there is just that you are assuming yourself as a user. So how would you go through the solution that you yourself you are providing is what you are going to be doing here. So you are going to list out the action that you want to do on that product that you want to design. So you are going to list out the step by the action that you want to perform on the product that you are designing, so that you can achieve what you want to achieve. Let's say the app I want to design now is to order food, right? So what are the action that I'm going to take? I'm going to download the app first, right? I'm going to sign up. I'm going to add my card. Then when I want to buy my food, I open up the app and I choose anything I want to buy. Then I make my order. So when you're creating your user journey map, you have all this action written down, and then you try to imagine, like, if I'm doing this thing, what are the positive things that can happen to me. So first thing is, you say I want to download an app. So one of the possible things that it's possible, the problem that you can have when you are downloading an app, is to download the wrong app. It's possible that you download the wrong app. So you have to put it in your mind too, that this app I want to create now, it has to be a distinct one. You don't use a logo that another person that is doing the same thing that you are doing too is using, so that you are not referring them to your own, you are referring them to your own app, and then at the end of the day they are going to another product to use their own service. Do you get? So the next step is that you want to add your card. The process that takes to add card, you feel like, okay, I'm going through the process now. What are the possibilities that can happen? Okay, the user might be fear that, okay, this card I want to add, am I safe? Am I safe? So when you are designing your product, you have to make it a way that is going to give them the peace of mind that, okay, you are safe. It's not as if they are making a transaction. The money you want to send has to go from somebody first, then to another person. You can't do something like that. Is that you have to use a very good payment channel is going to that's going to give them that moment that, okay, you are safe. So when you do this, or when you do all these things that I'm saying now, you are creating an obstacle free path for your user. So also, it makes you reduce the impact of designer bias. So when you are trying to do your own user journey map too, you are trying to, like, think, okay, let's say I'm doing this, and your user map that you are doing is going to be, you are going to put in mind the research that you've made. So design, you are going to put that in mind too. So going to help you to erase all kind of bias that you had before the product that you want to design. So another benefit of user journey map is that you are going to get another nipple point. Assuming when you were talking about the product before, you never had anybody say talked about that talked about their so, like, maybe their card is saved on your app. You never had anybody talked about that. And when you are trying to follow the steps to you are trying to follow the steps to get something on the app by doing the user journey map, you realize that, okay, it's possible that somebody feel unsafe when they're trying to add their card to this product. Are you with me? And also, you are going to identify improvement and opportunity. So because what the structure of this user journey map itself is going to highlight the improvement and opportunity at the end, because everything that you are doing, there has to be a solution for it. You have to get a solution to it. So at the end of it, you'll be getting a solution for each of the problem that you've highlighted. Now, um, you know, so after getting your user journey map, you need to have a problem statement. You need to have a problem statement which has to do with your user pain points. These are people that is going to lead you to that's going to lead you to your problem statement, because problem statement is what you are going to be working with now. Is what are going to be working with next. So we said problem statement provide a clear description of the user needs, and that should be addressed. So because that's majorly why you are designing the product. You want to solve the problem. So you have to understand the pain point, and then you have to get the problem statement. So the framework that I'm going to be using here is the five W's and H. That is who, what, when, where, why, and how. So at the end of your problem, all these questions have to be answered. All this why, what, who, all these questions has to be answered at the end when you are done creating your user problem. So when you create a user problem and you don't have any of these answered, that means you you've not done what you're supposed to do. So we said the pinpoint are any UX issue or friction that frustrates the users. We've talked about it before. So okay, now that's what I just say. Now after you define the user's pain point, you can answer who, what, where, why, and how to solve the user's problem. So after getting user problem, you're able to answer that. And then we have a framework for this too, just like you have for user story. So there's it. So we have the user, and we have the user characteristics, then the user need, and then the insights. The user name, the user character, the need of the user, and then the insights. So I think this is already filled already. So this we have here, we have the name of the user that we are designing for. We have Arnold, and then we have sorry Arnold. We have the characteristics of the user is a busy executive, and then what the person need is that you need an app experience to hire a dog walker. That's the need. So, and because why they need an easy app experience is that to because it's not technological savvy. So okay. So this is a structure for the problem statement. Now, even from this, we can think we can even assume what the user story could be. So user story is going to be something like um as as a busy as a busy executive, right? So what do they want? Who wants an easy app experience for a dog walker, right? So that sorry, I'm coming. As a busy executive, I want to hire a dog walker so that then the benefit that I want from getting a dog walker. So it's going to put it there like that. That's what the user story is going to look like. So that's what the user story is going to look like. Now we are at the Ideate phase now. We are done with define phase. We've gotten everything we need to continue with our design. Now we have to think about how do you want to solve this problem. Now we've done a lot of research, we've asked our users, how do you think we can solve this problem? We've gotten a lot of answers from them. We got a lot of feedback from them. Now, how do we solve this problem? There are a lot of us go about that. So we are going to looking at the brainstorming and design ideas now. So how do you brainstorm on a user or on design ideas? First thing I can do is using the how might we. That is when you are working in a group of we are working in a group, we are in a team. So you can work with your the member of the teams, and then you have this question: how might we solve this problem? So through that, a lot of ideas will come. You cannot have enough ideas. Like everybody will be saying different kind of things. Maybe when we talk about the problem is that people want to buy food and they don't want to go out of their room. So we want to get them food. We've done a lot of a lot of interview. We've seen that most of them are able to afford it. We've seen that you'll be able to afford it. You know that pinpoint. Okay, they don't like this, they don't want that. So people can start bringing ideas. Okay, let's do a mobile app. So this mobile app is going to be like this. It's going to have this feature. It's going to so everybody will start bringing different ideas. So we might go like, okay, let's just maybe because of resources that you have or the maybe something else that they might even think of might be a solution for them when they are working with it. might even be in suggestion something like, let's have a mobile app. Let's not make it a mobile. Sorry, let's have a mobile. Let's have a website, not an app instead. So it will bring different kind of ideas here, and so another way you can do that is also by using the crazy eight. So you can do that on your own. You can do that with team members too. How do you do crazy eight? I don't think I have it there, but let me just explain it more. So they do crazy eight with a sheet of paper. So you are going to fold it into like you're going to fold it 4 times. So when you fold it 4 times, then you're having eight. You should have eight sections like that. So you should have eight sections like that. So you are going to spend 1 minute on each sections to illustrate the possible solution to that problem that you are thinking about. So each of the sessions you are going to have a illustration. You are going to have an illustration of a possible solution there, and I'm going to spend 1 minute on it. So anything that comes to your head in that first 8 minutes is what you're going to put down in your crazy eight. So now after that time, you now start looking at it. Okay, this will work. This is not going to work. So from that, you have a lot of ideas already. You have 8 ideas already. You're able to select the best one from those ideas like that. So that's that about brainstorming design idea. When you get to design ideation, Eh, this is not showing. This is not showing. So the next thing we have is, I don't know why it's not showing. We have um prioritization. I don't know why it's not showing here, but I'm coming. But, so you are everything that all these ideas that you've gotten now, you are going to arrange them in order that which one should you do first. So that's when you are going to be using the um prioritization map. Where is it? Okay, so this is the map. So I can remember Stephen talked about this the last class. Somebody asked about it. So this is what I've forgotten what the question that the person asked that day. But if the person is here, you can just unmute your mic and talk and ask the question that you asked that day again. I forgot what the person asked about something like this. So when you have a lot of ideas already now, so you are going to put them in order of um how fast do you need them, because a lot of ideas will come. Even you yourself, you have a lot of features I want to include in the app, but you have to be realistic to yourself. You cannot rule out every features at once. You can't. You have to put them in order. Which one should I do first? Which one should I do next? So if we look at this one is called um, matrix. So you use this one to like show that which one is more important, which one is less important, which one should I put more effort in, which one should I put less effort in. You can This one is just like a way. You might see some others. You have important, you have less important, you have do next, you have do later. You can have different things to like qualify them, but this is what they use here now. So they use high, they use low, right? They use impact and they use effort, the effort. So this is what you are going to do. This is the sorry. This is the one that has the this is the highest one, right? So the I, this is the I. So this one you are doing first, and then the other of impact too goes this way. So you are doing this first, then what? Then this, right? So after that you are doing what? You are doing this. Sorry, you are doing this first, you are doing this next, then this, then you are doing this next. So just to show that which one am I, if I you can do it anyhow you want. You can make it in form of paper sorting. Like I can just arrange them. Okay, this is what I'm doing next, this is what I'm doing now, this is what I'm doing later, this is what I'm doing later, and this I'm not going to do it. Because not everything that you get from your interview and everything is what you are going to be using. Because you have to consider your own resources too. You don't have the resources to implement all those ideas, you cannot put them there. You have just to drop it. You just have to drop it. Maybe you have something like maybe some students might like to buy food on credit. I mean, how do you want to put that? We're just starting up, and that might not even be a best things to do. You can just put down one never. Like you're not even going to do that. So that's just that about idea prioritization, and yeah. So that's going to be the end of today's class. So we've talked about how you can make sense of of everything that you've gotten from the research that you made. So now you can at the end of this class now, I want to believe that you should be able to do um user persona. You should be able to do that. You should be able to have user story, and also you should be able to define your problem statements, and also arrange your you have to able to prioritize your ideas that you had when you were doing all this research and everything. So how many things like that? You have like four things that you should be able to do at the end of this class. You're using more than four. Yeah. And you should be able to have a very good interview like this. So this is the end of everything that you have in this class. So if you have any question that you want to ask, you can raise your hand and ask, or mute your mic and ask. I don't know. Have you gotten the link to um so this is this is what user journey map look like. This is what user journey map look like. So the what you need to put on your design journey map. So like I said that you are going to well, this one might not, is not really might not be really important. You might not really need to add this one to it. But the title is very important. The title is very important. User journey map for what? What are you making the user journey map for? You have to make that clear. You have to make that clear. So I want to ask somebody. So you have to make it clear that you have to make the kind of what's going on here? You have to make the title clear that okay, the digital journey map I'm creating is for what. You have to make it clear there, and then the scenario that you are trying to create. Okay, I'm trying to make this user to buy from this app, or to buy and pay for this app. So you have to put it there, and then your expectation to what you expect the users to do, and what you expect to get from the user journey map that you are doing. So you have to put it there too. Now this is how it's been done. You might not really have up to you might not really have everything like this there. Like I think you may have just like four. This opportunity, feeling, thinking. Maybe that's most important thing that you might need to have it. So sometimes not everything that is very, 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 very important like that you have to put on your user journey map. So I said that you have to add the action there. So this is the action, maybe the action that you want. I don't know. This is not even good enough an example, but let's just use this one. So maybe this is the action that you want the user to do, right? So the thinking, what is that you thinking during the process of using the product that you are trying to like you are imagining. It's not you are not really testing the product yet though. You are just imagining like let's say I'm the user, I want to use this product now. I want to the action I want to do is to buy. Okay, let's say to add my card to this product that the designer designed, right? So what I'm thinking is okay, how do I add this card to it? Maybe how do I add this card to it? What are the things that I need what are the things that I need so that I can add my card? Maybe that was what I was thinking when I was trying to think about what I would do if I was the user. So I'm going to put it down. So also the steps that I'm going to take to this you can just make this in form of list like A, B, C, D. Do you get? You can just make it something like that. So you are going to do that for the doings. and then the pain point. So maybe I'm not safe. I feel like this thing is not safe for me. So I'm going to put that one there too in the pain point. Then feeling. So that's something like worried. I mean, if we cannot put something like worried there. That's the feeling, and then opportunity. That means what should you learn from this process now? So I have to make this payment gateway. I have to make it the one that the user will trust. I have to make use of a payment gateway that user will trust. So that's the opportunity. That's what you learn from that one now, like that. So that's just basically what user journey map is, and it's very very important. It's very very important, especially when you're dealing with like you're saying you're a product designer. It's very very important. You're just doing UI UX. Let's say might not really be that important. When we talk about product design, it's very very important because if you are talking to stakeholders now and they ask you, you are trying to tell us that this product you want to design is going to work, right? So yeah, now ask you your user journey map that have you ever think like have you ever put yourself in the shoes of a user and trying to use that app that you say you want to do? So how do you feel you are going to um how do you think you are going to use the app that's going to be easy for you? What do you think might be the obstruction that you're going to have in your design in your product that you designed? So that one will lead you to like, okay, these are the edge case that I need to correct. So that's just that on the user journey map. So another thing that like everything we did in class today, you can just go to the community to see more examples on them. And then, like I said in the last class, that we are going to be working on a problem, working on a project, and then you have to be the one to pick the solution, the problem that you want to solve by yourself. So, and I said it's going to become an assignment last week. That is going to become an assignment, but I told you that you can just start thinking of a problem to solve. So now it has become an assignment now for you to look for a problem that you want to solve. And with all these research projects that we've talked about, you are going to put each of them into practice. So, we are not going to be we are not going to rush. You still have from today till that's next week month. That's till Monday, right? That's quite long. So you are going to start your assignment now from the research plan. You are going to get a research plan for okay. Maybe I will share this thing to you later. I will share a template that you can use for that. Or you can even get the template for you can get the template for that on the community. Let's get template for that on the community. What are this of research plan, right? Let's get the templates on the community from the community. This is a journey map. Sorry. Hey, no, research plan. Research plan into study. So let's see what you can get from this. Okay, let's see what they have here. But if you cannot get it here, I'm going to send you a research plan that you can use. Yeah, it's there. I think it's even well organized. Um, this one. So see now, you have what very organized there, very very organized. See, so the assumption, dex research, other method, facts. Yeah, you're already gathering your the question that you want to ask. Research plan, project, research goals, research questions, recruiting tools, method and this is like everything that I even mentioned in the class. You can see another template that's different from this one, but it's still going to have everything that we said when I was explaining. So how you want to recruit participants. So I'm going to send you a I'm going to send you a template that's more simpler than this. I'm going to send you a template that's more simpler than this later after this class.